all.
But they're also asking,
we have this,
is the
drink.
Also, the question implies, is there similar plants on Mars as Earth? Is the trees are the trees the same? Are the plant life the same? Where it can grow, if it can grow?
Now, we have stuff that doesn't grow here on Earth. We have a drink, in fact. You would probably think it resembles a cup of coffee. It's called Soma. But what it is, it's an hallucinogenic, is what it is.
Can you send me a case of that?
Mars
can we have
using 100% of their brain?
Yeah, but we want to try it though at Monster Castle. Can you send us one case, please, to Monster Castle? To the Monster Castle.
Hey, listen, I don't make the laws here. I don't even believe that marijuana should be against the law. I mean, how are you going to make a plant against the law?
Exactly.
You know, if a plant is against the law, that's like me saying that a maple tree should be against the law because I don't like maple trees. And everybody knows.
Or a dandelion. I've said the same thing. My God, I've said the same thing. You might as well make a dandelion illegal.
The guy who was in charge of the paper industry.
It's ridiculous.
Anyway, go ahead.
No, I'm loving that with you. I've said the same goddamn thing so many times. I've said the same thing you just said. You just repeated what I just said many, many times. How can you make a plant illegal? Come on, people, wake up here. This is ridiculous. You can't say, that's like saying, okay, this tree is illegal. That's like saying marijuana is legal. There's no difference. It's ridiculous.
You know, we have huge farms on Mars. And we have horticulture to a fine art, you know. And we have flower shops. We have everything. We have our own wineries. We have our own liquor stores.
Okay, what are the can we go back to the pyramids? What was their function?
Well, it had two functions. It was supposed to have been built as a prophecy because the lion was a reference to Christ, the end of the world when the coming of Christ was, and the three pyramids were a representation of the belt of Orion. You know, they named that constellation after me, not the other way around. For tens of thousands of years, that was just a great hunter in the sky, you know. But I turned the tide of the war in our favor. I saved 120 different races of man from extinction, and I traded my life to do it in the one greatest single act of vengeance ever recorded in the annals of history. And that is what the problem is all about, because we have conquered all of those planets that the Greys had possession of. And now there's only one place that they can go where we can't hunt them openly and kill them. And it's here. They all want to come home.
They want to get baptized.
Probably.
They're planning to kill all of you.
All right, so who is Jesus then, Bruce?
You know, this is the other thing that I was trying to tell him.
Talk to me.
We believe in Christ. The people on Mars are all Christians, except that we have a religion called the Royal Priesthood of Melchizedek. Melchizedek came to our world before it was destroyed. He did not teach us in parables. He taught us openly. We have in our possession something that is called the glorified Bible. That's what you did, translated into English. That's what you would call it.
But more importantly, did unicorns really exist?
That our Melchizedek and your Jesus Christ are one and the same people. And that's part of what this is all about. You guys don't realize this is all real. You know, the royal family that rules over these Greys They're called the Royal House of Lucifer, just like you guys have the Royal House of Windsor. And their society is very different than you can imagine. That was the thing I was going to say earlier that I forgot. You know, I, myself, you know, there's like stories, I'm chasing the 7 sisters of the Pleiades. You know,
we're going to break out. No.
We're all got bad reputations as womanizers, right? And it's true, that's what you say in your Greek mythology, but your stuff is all wrong.
It's a great place to end it, folks. He's talking about womanizers. All right, we'll be back in a second with more womanizer talk. All right, yeah, dig it. It's a Wolfman. All right. Can you dig it?
Here I go, Jaja.
Extended music play. All right. Tribal Seeds. Rastafari vibration. All right.
Now that Babylon runs, sings, all we see is some dread sings, causing Babylon system. I can't live now in I lost paradise. Push I to vex all time. Such a different state of mind. How am I to forward this fight? Yeah. am I to forward this crime? Yeah. In I lost paradise, push I to vex all time. Such a different state of mind. How am I to forward this crime? Yeah.
Ah, yeah. Rasta, vibration on the Illy Monster Castle. Alright, everybody get high. Yeah. Alright, we're back. We are back.
Okay, you guys, I did my damage. Probably lost half the audience.
Are we ready to go again?
Oh yeah.
My question?
Okay, I wanted to talk about the birth rates for a minute. Okay.
Okay, hold on, Bruce.
As I was saying
let Adam
before,
first ask his question before you go into that, if you would, please.
Alrighty. My question is, you speak of what sounds like an interstellar war, and as wondering, has your people progressed enough to use high modulated frequency gamma ray burst weapons?
We have stuff that you couldn't even guess at. We can fly right into the corona of the sun and take plasma out of it and fill like a gas can with it. You know, we have stuff that I can't even tell you about because the last time I was directly involved was 40,000 years ago. I haven't been around that stuff this time around. This time I've been living amongst human beings for over 60 years. So, you know, let me just jump on this because since we got a short period of time, there's a couple things I want to touch base on. One is the birth rates. You know, a lot of negative things have been said about me and my family, you know, about us being womanizers and that kind of thing. And you guys don't realize we generally reproduce one single child at a time for a gestation period of 9 months, carried inside of the bodies of our females who have live births. Our enemies lay eggs. They are specialists at incubation. They will have many, you know, hundreds and hundreds, even thousands of children all at once. Every one of them identical to the last cell. Where we actively embrace concepts like individuality. We tell our children it's okay to be an individual, just be yourself. You know, that they have certain individual rights. You know, those serpents, they actively avoid that kind of thinking. And for them, it's not true because if you took a machine gun and killed 100 of those things, there's another 900 of them right behind them that are just like the first 100 that you just killed. And they don't think the way that we do. They're intelligent, like you would consider a man to be intelligent, but their emotions are different because they're hive-minded. They have a hierarchy that rules over them, controllers. Those are called the dragon overlords, which is where the term Dragon Slayer comes into play in the first place, because we realized that if you take out the dragons, those guys, they lose track of what they're doing. So they have these beings that rule over them with these elongated heads. And the higher up you go, the deeper red color they get, and their heads get bigger and bigger until, you know, when you get to the upper echelon in that serpentine society, you know, those guys kind of look like that thing that's in the Sigourney Weaver movies. You know, the alien with the long head.
It's nothing that we kind of take care of with little baptism, you know. Just to baptize them, you know. Splash your head and then push on the water, you know, push it and then force full of them. And then when I finally stretch them a bit, you know, their head fucking blows up every time.
Well, listen, guys, you don't want to be in the same room with one of these things because they can make you see things. Those dragons could make you think you were talking to Marilyn Monroe. And they could walk right up on you, and in just the moment that you think you're about to have the best sex of your life, they'll reach down and they'll rip your testicles off and feed them to you. You don't realize what you're dealing with. These little grays, they're called serpents, but that's a derivative of the word servant. Those are the servants, and they are ruled over by the dragons. There are two classes in their civilization, and we are at war with them.
Bruce, you killed a bunch of them 40,000 years ago. Have you killed any since you've been, here?
No, but I've had confrontations with them.
Would you kill them if you had a chance?
Oh, absolutely. If one walked up to me right today, if you brought one out in front of me and I was at a garden party somewhere and they'd go, Bruce, we want you to meet this one really nice gray guy. No, you don't want to bring him up to me because I'll rip his intestines out and show it to him before he's dead. We are at war. You guys maybe don't understand the definition WAR. They destroyed our entire planet and killed 49 billion of our people.
Why is Igor coming out? Oh my God!
They are evil.
Why is Igor? Guys,
nobody ever told you that. They take about 35 to 50,000 people a year themselves out of the United States every year.
Bruce.
And they kill them.
Mr. Bruce, this is Igor. I am from the dungeon. Darren, tell him to listen to me, all right? Tell him what I can do. Listen to me, I am Igor.
What are you doing, Igor?
I want to know a question that was not answered.
Which question's that?
I want to know what the fucking pyramids were there for. What they do.
Yeah, he talked about...
It was built to warn you that a day would come when Orion would be back from the dead. And that was the sign that you were supposed to know. When you see Orion come back from the dead,
there's something else. This pyramid structure
at the end of the world.
I use for experiments in my dungeon. Now, it has strange properties. I want to know more about properties of pyramid structure.
He said it's just a symbol.
No, it is not. It does strange things.
No. It had a function in the beginning. It had an energy function in the beginning, but I don't know how it works. I've been dumbed down too,
I use electricity and
see, that's the thing. Compared to my own race, I'm dumber than a brick. But compared to human beings, I'm still a registered genius by comparison. I can tell you that those pyramids had a physical function in the beginning. But the Egyptians not only didn't build them, they tore them down. There used to be these white, quartz shine covering. Those pyramids used to be white in color.
They were limestone.
All right, man.
No, not on the outside. They were lined. They were like that pyramid that's in Las Vegas. It was beautiful originally. But when the Egyptians came along, they stripped it all off.
Yeah,
they stripped it all off.
Yeah, they did. They know where they went, too. They used them on some other things. But Bruce, your last life was 40,000 years ago, right?
Yes.
Your previous one? So you had nothing. That's why you can remember it so well, huh? The memories are
yes. I'm not reincarnated.
Listen, I'm not reincarnated. I am a clone of a dead person.
But
I was alive 46. They're in my genetics.
Didn't you say you met
I have
God?
been to the other side. I have spoken to God.
He wants to know what God was like. He's scared that God is a mean bastard, you know, that's going to hit him and stuff, you know.
Now, listen, guys,
and
that's what I'm trying to tell you.
His testicles.
He came, listen, it's not a joke.
We have 111 billion people, and we are all devoted Christians. Christians. We have a religion called the Royal Priesthood of Melchizedek.
What do you guys feel about Muslims?
No, that's a fake religion. That was created by the serpents. You know, you could go over to Muslim nations right now and ask any Arab person if they know what the jinn are. And they'll tell you. They know that the jinn are reptile people that live underground. If you ask an Arab person, do you want to go exploring this cave with me? They'll tell you straight out, no way. There could be jinn at the bottom of that cave, and they not only kill people, they like to eat them too. And it's weird because it's common knowledge to the Arabs, but it's not to the rest of the world. You know, the word demon, I was mentioning this to Eric. You know, people don't understand the word demon, as in demonic possession. The definition of the word demon is ghost of a serpent. Because what these guys do is right before they die, they astral project. And their person, their whole consciousness, leaves their physical body before death, and they begin inhabiting other people's bodies. That's how they come to possess people. And they are the enemy. Those are the grays. When you see demonic possession, those are dead grays on the inside of this thing. Demons are grays, and they're reptilian people. And you know, when Christ came to our world, he restored to us the one thing that we could not restore to ourselves.
Have you ever punched?
He gave us back our innocence. He paid the price.
But
he did the same thing on this planet.
The real question is, did Jesus Christ carry a sword, and did you ever punch an alien gray in the face? Like, I know a few people that have.
Are you asking me, have I?
Have you? Have you ever been abducted?
Oh, of course. I've tortured them to death. I've held them down to the ground and forced them to look in my eyes as I gutted them like a fish. You let one get within 8 feet of me and he's dead. I'm telling you that right now, because I've even measured it off. If I get within 8 feet of somebody and he's my target, he's dead. We are at war.
Bruce?
War. Yes?
Bruce, can I ask you a question about the dinosaurs you talked about earlier? You said there was intelligent dinosaurs living?
Yes, those are the grays. Those are the grays.
Oh, they were living back then.
Yes, they're dinosaurs. They're from here. They're raptors. They began walking around bipedal on 2 legs. They began using their hands and arms for other purposes, and they developed ever higher forms of brain function to aid them in their hunting capabilities. You know, 65 million years ago, there were no fruits or vegetables on this planet. There was only 2 food sources. It was leaves or meat. Really so the species here were either herbivores or carnivores. And those grays, they were carnivores. So to this day, 100% of their food intake is meat and meat byproducts, which brings up another minor little thing. When their parents die, they will have a ceremony that we would associate with a wake, except that at our wakes, people show up with food, right? At their wakes...
Don't say it. They eat their parents?
Yes, that's exactly what they do.
No.
They can't. Listen, but that's important. You know, they cannibalize their own. What do you think that they do to human beings?
They make soup out of
these things. They want to turn you into cattle. And they're going to do it. Because don't kid yourself into thinking that the United States government is going to be able to protect you from an extraterrestrial blitzkrieg and beings that are millions of years in advance of you technologically.
So what
you
you're
guys
saying
are all
is
sitting there and
you're
you're
going to
all
be
about
making
to
us
be wiped out.
into a
7
burger?
billion people on this planet are about to be massacred. And that's why I'm here. I'm trying to stop this. And nobody's taking this seriously. Everybody thinks I'm making this up, and I'm not making any of this up. I am the real deal. I'm not a wannabe. I'm not a make-believe. And if you hear anybody talking about anything other than the Nephilim or the serpents, they more than likely don't have a clue what they're talking about. And it's real easy because all they got to do is say something like, I talked to somebody from the planet Sorg that's 23 light years away, and, you have to take their word for it. But the stuff that I show people, you don't have to take my word for it. I will show you pictures from Mars. I will show you images of people with pointed ears. I will show you what's going on at Gustav Crater. I'll lay out the sciences for you. It's just complicated to do that. But most of this stuff, the governments know, but they're not telling the public because they're afraid that it will cause a public panic. But you need to know, because if the truth doesn't get out, all of you are dead. It's that simple, and it's going to be soon, I think. I think it's probably going to take place in the next 2 years.
Are you
referring
to the poisoning?
Oh, absolutely. You guys are not going to die of natural causes. You're not going to be asleep in your beds dying from old age. You're going to die from war. In the first 24 hours alone, they are going to kill people by the billions. And the people that are left alive on this planet afterwards, they're going to hunt you all down one after another, after another, after another. And when they find you, they'll swarm on you like insects, 20 at a time. And they'll pull you to the ground, and they'll gut you like a fish while you're still alive.
No, we're sitting on our lawn chair. Wait, let's get real. Well, we're sitting on our lawn chairs with a case of beer beside us, and we don't really give a fuck, because I don't care if I live or die in a shit world like this anyway. Because I know I'll come back, because my soul is eternal. Everyone's soul is eternal, so if they kill us, they're not going to really kill us. You can't kill our soul.
Yeah, they can't kill the real you anyway. That's what Christ is about. Make friends with Christ. Because if you make friends with Christ, no matter what happens to you physically, you're going to be fine.
We're not here to fear-monger the people and scare everyone like here on this show, man. We torture people and throw bodies down. Who cares? Eat them.
Exactly. You don't. That's the point. Do you think anybody out there cares about your extinction?
The Greys are, the Greys are Igor's favorite. He loves Greys. He likes squishing their helmets right into their eyes.
Here's the thing, though.
It's a tough balance because
when they take this world, and they will, it's not a matter of when. I mean, it's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when. It'll happen sometime between now and the year 2060. But it could just as easily be tomorrow. The thing is, it's going to happen, and the people who are left on this planet are going to be annihilated. But once all the human governments are gone, and the serpents take possession of this planet, then we are going to clean their clocks once and for all. We can't interfere right now because we are the people who put you in authority of this planet. We gave you this planet back after it was destroyed 40,000 years ago. We set you free on the surface. The only thing we told you is to be fruitful and multiply and to replenish the earth. That's all. We set you free to rule yourselves, to make your own decisions, or for that matter, to make your own mistakes. So we have to go along basically with the stuff that you're doing, because your people are in charge. If they don't want us here, most of the time we try to go along with their wishes, but a lot of times we don't. Like I said, we come here, we take people, we take soldiers, we take materials, for the war effort. But Bruce, it's going on right now, right over your head. What?
What can we do? What can we do?
Well, I'll tell you what.
I mean, it sounds like a call for action, but what do we do?
It is a call for action. I'll tell you exactly what you should do, but you won't do it. 40,000 years ago, the ship that I was on crashed on the surface of Mars, and it is still there.
I'll do it.
All of those, yes, listen, bodies on Mars do not decompose. All of those bodies are still there. They were photographed, the whole crash site was photographed by the Spirit rover on Sol number 513. That's 513. And what there needs to be a massive march on like Washington, D.C., like a 10 million man march, and ordering the United States government to release all of the original photos in their original state so that the people of this planet can see what really is going on.
And if we knew what was going on, what could we do?
Well, that's the point.
Go to Mars and...
Listen, we have the technology to stop this from happening. We would be more than happy to come down here and put our military bases around this planet and to prevent this attack from taking place. That's what we would like to do. But the governments of this planet are not allowing us to do that. They're not even admitting that we really exist.
So the thing is... Well,
absolutely. You can't defend against these guys. We could defeat them. You can't defeat them. We could, though.
So they don't attack Mars at all anymore?
Oh, hell no, because, no, that'd be a suicide mission. Why do you think that you lost so many satellites and things at Mars? You lost hundreds of satellites that were sent to Mars. And the reason is real simple, because it's like if the Russians flew a MiG fighter jet over Washington, D.C., the Americans would blow it out of the sky, right? Same if the Americans flew F-16 fighter jets over Moscow, they'd blow them out of the sky. For a long time, you kept sending satellites and things to Mars, and we didn't know who it was. All these systems are automated, so it's not like there's a guy sitting there pulling the trigger. It's a computer. It scans the skies, and if it registers an artificial object coming into the atmosphere, we fire on it, because it's better to shoot first and ask questions later.
Well, how did the Curiosity make it onto the surface?
Well, that's the point. That's what they did, because, you see, they landed the Spirit rover smack in the middle of one of our cemeteries. And they landed it smack in the middle of a section of the cemetery that was designated for human beings. In fact, the grave that the Spirit rover was sitting on top of was a German colonel who had been taken out of World War I about 1915. But he died on Mars at the age of about 110. And his grave is right there, and there's headstones with his name and his birth date and stuff there. And while that was going on, the United States government was trying to take the opportunity to sneak in the back door by landing two rovers simultaneously. And they lost the Spirit rover after 3 days, but they got it back because, as it turned out, there was a memorial on the side of the Spirit rover that was dedicated to the space shuttle disaster. In short, it was a monument to your honored and cherished dead who were killed in space in a space shuttle incident. And you landed that right smack in the middle of the cemetery that was designated for human beings. So the thing is, after we got this device, what it does is it locks up computer chips.
Oh my God. We have to go to break, I'm sorry. It's the last break. Let's treasure that last thought. We will be back on Monster Castle Paranormal with the Wolfman, Adam Shadow, Darren the Man of 1,000 Questions, and Bruce.
I'm here.
The man from another planet.
I'm assuming we're on break.
we're back.
We win.
You're live, man. Tell us more about the Spirit Rover, Bruce.
Yeah, okay. Now listen. The Spirit Rover landed, and the cameras came out, and when they realized where they were at, they just sat there for 3 days because the camera was panning around, and NASA was doing comparisons with missing persons lists. So our people got kind of pissed off, and they fired this flash memory thing at it, and they locked it up, so you lost the Spirit Rover. The thing is, we felt bad afterwards when we realized that there was a memorial on the thing. So what we did was we opened up a comm link between the Spirit Rover and NASA. And what they did is while the comm link was open, they deleted all the information and they reprogrammed the Spirit Rover from scratch. Once they had it back up to 100% operation, the Spirit Rover began picking up an acoustical radio beacon that was broadcasting on the same homing frequency as the base of the Spirit Rover. The problem was that the Spirit Rover was still sitting on top of the base, and it wasn't coming from it. So they realized that the people on Mars were trying to lead them to something. And it took 1.5 years to get to the site, 1.5 years. And it was at the top of these mountains. They even named the mountains the Columbia Hills in honor of the space shuttle disaster. And it was at the top of this mountain that they found this crash site. They didn't find this crash site by accident. They were led to it by our people on Mars with the understanding that all the pictures that they were taking were supposed to have been shown to the people of Earth. But NASA doctored all the stuff out of the pictures. And they violated the law. They committed a Class 1 felony. It's like defacing of public property. It's the same as if I walked up and sprayed black spray paint graffiti on the White House. It was against the law. So the thing is, all of your answers, all the questions that you have, who are human beings? How did we get here? Who are the extraterrestrials? What's going on? It's all explained at that crash site in one way or another. And that crash site should be shown to the public. They are committing a felony by not letting you see it. You should have a 10 million man march on Washington to force them to stop lying. I am not making any of this up. I was sent here for a simple reason, because I'm a kind of a father figure to the human race, and because I'm expendable, because I was already dead.
Everyone take your pitchforks and let us march.
And get you to stop this from happening. We would love to come here, but there's the problem. We're not going to give our technologies to the United States government. Any of the military fortresses that we would build around this planet would remain under our command and control. And the United States government and other countries will not allow that to take place. And if they don't,
Bruce,
you're all dead.
Quick question.
So go ahead. That's what I want to say.
Greys working? Are the Greys or the serpentine reptilian Greys working with our NASA and our government? Is that why you guys won't give them your technology? Because then the Greys will use it against you?
No, first of all, it's not so much that they would use it against us. It's that they would use it against each other and you. You know, that directed energy weapon that they fired down on the World Trade Towers, that's a Tesla death ray. Where do you think he got that? He told you